Hi guys, in this video we're going to look at how to export our model and make sure we can set it up for texturing in Photoshop. So we're not going to export the model itself with this process, but what we're going to do is we're going to export our UVs, kind of an image of our UVs. So I'm going to go into my UV editing tab. Okay, and I'm going to click on my model here and I can see that I've got all of my UVs. If you've got multiple models, you might need to select all of them there. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the image tab, I believe. Yep. So at the top I've got the image tab and I'm going to take a UV snapshot. Okay, so what this does is it's going to take an image of this that I can use in Photoshop and I'm going to paint on top of it. Fairly nice and simple here. So this is where it's going to go. So for the time being, I'm going to put mine on my desktop. You might want to put yours somewhere more sensible, like in your project folder that you should have set up. So I'm going to call this Spaceship UV Map so that I know what that is and I can find it really, really easily. Okay. I'm then going to change the image format to a PNG. So what a PNG is it holds transparency, which means that when it exports this map, I'm just going to get these lines themselves. I'm not going to get any white information in the background, which is just going to make it that little bit more flexible for me. Okay, the next thing that I need to do is I need to look at this here. So this is our texture resolution in pixels. So we have a fair few common texture sizes that we can use, and they are square numbers. So it starts at 128, we then have 256, we then have 512, 1024, 2048, and then 4096. Those are our most common texture sizes there, and our texture files are square as well, so you'll notice when I change these to these various different numbers, you can see that it changes both of those. We want to export this square over here, so a fairly sort of I'm going to do a 1K texture here, 1024, 1024. This is fairly low resolution, well, fairly mid-range resolution sort of thing without being too memory intensive. So obviously our 4096 textures are going to be massive. They're going to take up a lot of space. They're going to slow our game engine down. Our 128 textures are going to be the most optimized. However, we're not going to be able to get as much detail into our texture there. So I'm going to do a 1024 texture, and then I'm going to leave everything else as it is, hit apply and close. So then I am going to go down to Photoshop and I'm going to load Photoshop up. And then essentially what we're going to do, once it's all loaded, I am going to create a new, so I'm going to make a new document. I'm going to do this custom, so I'm going to change this over here to pixels and 1024 by 1024. 300 pixels per inch, this is what you want. This is a really nice sort of higher resolution here, and everything else we can just leave there. If we hit create, that's going to create our image. I can then try and find my file now, and I can then drag that in here. So now I have, I have my UVs in here that I can use. So this is our map. I highly recommend you lock this layer here so you don't accidentally move it around, because if you move it around, then your texture mapping isn't going to line up. Okay. What we can do now is we can put layers in between this, so I could maybe leave this one on the top, and then anything information I now paint on here is going to come through to our texture map there. I'm going to get the lines on top of that. Okay, in the next video we'll look how to start painting this and techniques we can use to paint this. This video has shown you how to take a UV snapshot and import that into Photoshop. Okay, thank you very much.